Hi, welcome to Virtual CB1A. This is Miss Rena, and for today's video discussion, we are going to talk about the definitions and biconditional statements. So before, we learned that definition uses known words to describe a new word. And yung mga definition natin, they do not need any proving. So two lines are called perpendicular lines if they intersect to form a right angle. So we have here two figures. So the first one is a representation of two lines that intersect in a 90-degree angle. Now, for the second figure, this is an example of a line perpendicular to a plane. So think of it this way. Meron kayong tabletop. Your tabletop, yung flat na surface ng mesa nyo, that will serve as your plane. Now, mag-erect kayo ng isang stick or ng isang ballpen. And then, measure if the ballpen or the stick makes a 90-degree angle with your tabletop. Then, yun yung isang example ng line perpendicular to a plane. Your stick or your pen as the representation of your line, and the tabletop as the representation of your plane. So, ito yung pinapakita dito sa figure na to. We have plane P, your tabletop, and N, your stick or your ballpen, making a perpendicular line with P on all of its possible angle. So, hindi lang yan limited sa iisang measurement. Both ways. Okay? Paikot siya. Now, let's go to this next paragraph. All definitions can be interpreted forward and backward. For instance, the definition of perpendicular lines means if two lines are perpendicular, then they intersect to form a right angle. And two, if two lines intersect to form a right angle, then, I'm sorry, then they are perpendicular. Ulitin ko yung number 2. If two lines intersect to form a right angle, then they are perpendicular. So let's have example number 1. We are going to make use of definitions. So decide whether each statement about the diagram is true. Explain your answer using the definitions you have learned. For case A, we have points D, X, and B are collinear. D, X, B are collinear. When we say collinear, they are lying on the same line. So si point D, si point X, at si point B ay nasa isang line daw. So, is this statement true or false? So, this statement is true. Why? Two or more points are collinear if they lie on the same line. So, the points D, X, and B all lie on the line DB. So, they are collinear. Okay? So, ano ba si X? So, si X ay point of intersection of lines AC and DB. Ibig sabihin si X ay nasa line DB rin. So, since this is the point of intersection of the two lines. Now, let's have letter B. AC is perpendicular to DB, or line AC is perpendicular to line DB. Again, this statement is true. Why? So, the right angle symbol here, forming right angle AXD, and AXB, at saka DXC, at saka CXB, indicates that the line AC and DB intersects to form a right angle. So the lines are perpendicular. And finally, we have angle AXB is adjacent to CXD. So AXB, CXD. AXB, CXD. So what do you see? Ano yung relationship ng dalawang angle? They are not adjacent. Sila ay vertical angles. And we know that if we have adjacent angles, hindi ka pwede makabuo ng vertical angle, di ba? So, let's make it simple. So, by definition, adjacent angles must share a common side. Is there a common side? Ang side ni AXB ay AX at saka XB. Ang sides ni angle CXD ay CX at saka XD. So, wala tayong common side between them. Because AXB and CXD do not share a common side, they are not adjacent. Okay, kita na yun dito pa lang sa arrangement ng mga vertices and sides. ng angle natin, kita na kaagad siya. Kapag ka magkasunod na letter, ibig sabihin that is one side. AX, that is one side. XB, that is another side. Dito, ang side niya, CX at saka XD. Walang nagkaparehas, 'di ba? Walang parehas na side or walang parehas na line, walang parehas na ray. Therefore, they are non-adjacent. Now, let's talk about biconditional statements. Noon, nandun tayo sa, sa conditional statements, which is in the if-then form, hypothesis, then conclusion. If hypothesis, then conclusion. Dito naman sa biconditional form, meron tayong only if form. So, if and only if dun sa ibang books. Conditional statements are not always written in if-then form. Another common form of conditional statement is only if form. Here is an example. It is Saturday only if I am working at the restaurant. Or, pwede mo siyang i-rewrite this way. Sa if-then form. If it is Saturday, then I am working at the restaurant. Hindi nag-mess up yung hypothesis and conclusion. Hindi sila nagkabaligtad. Pag sinabi mo dito na if I am working at the restaurant, then it is Saturday. Iba na yon. So, ano na yon? Is it the inverse, the converse, or the contrapositive? So, isa siya dun sa tatlong yon. What is it? Okay. Paki-research ulit Pag binaligtad mo yung hypothesis at saka yung conclusion, ano yun? Next, we have a biconditional statement is a statement that contains the phrase if and only if. Sa ibang books, makikita nyo na lang siya in symbol. So, pag nakita nyo tong symbol na to, later on, matatakal din naman natin to. Pero ngayon pa lang, i-introduce ko na kayo dun sa notation natin for if and only if. Pag nakakita kayo ng I tapos double F, this is read as if and only if. Okay? So, writing a biconditional statement is equivalent to writing a conditional statement and its converse. So, balikan natin yung tanong ko kanina. Pag pinagbaliktad mo si conclusion at si hypothesis, ano mabubuo mo? Is it the inverse, the converse, or the contrapositive? So, balikan natin. Pag kaninegate mo si hypothesis and conclusion, you will have the inverse. Pag binaligtad mo si conclusion at si hypothesis, makakakuha ka ng converse. Kapag ka binaligtad mo yung inverse, makakakuha ka ng contrapositive. Right? Now, let's go to example number 2, rewriting a biconditional statement. So, the conditional statement below can be written as a conditional statement and its converse. So, 3 lines are coplanar if and only if they lie in the same plane. So, ang ating conditional statement ay, if 3 lines are coplanar, then they lie in the same plane. Ano yung converse nito? Pagbaligtarin natin yung conclusion at saka yung hypothesis. So, dito, ang hypothesis ay 3 lines are coplanar. The conclusion is, they lie in the same plane. Pagbaligtarin natin, we have, if 3 lines lie in the same plane, if 3 lines lie in the same plane, conclusion, naging hypothesis. Then, they are coplanar. 3 lines are coplanar. They are coplanar. Okay? Okay. Now, let's go to this paragraph. A biconditional statement can be either true or false. To be true, both the conditional statement and its converse must be true. So, kapag pareho si conditional statement, nung inilagay mo siya, isinulat mo siya as a conditional statement, tapos isinulat mo siya as the converse, two-way siya, parehas na true, then the whole biconditional statement is true. Natakal din natin siya sa logic before nung nag-summarize tayo ng table of all the logical operators. Uh-huh. Okay, so this means that a true biconditional statement is true both forward and backward. All definitions can be written as true biconditional statements. So analyzing a biconditional statement, we have this statement: x is equal to 3 if and only if x squared is equal to 9. Unang tanong, is this a biconditional statement? Pangalawa, is the statement true? So letter A, the statement is biconditional because it contains our keyword here, if and only if. Now, let's analyze the truth value of the conditional statement and the converse. Pag pareha silang true, then the whole biconditional is true. So, let natin siya as a conditional statement. If x is equal to 3, then x squared is equal to 9. This is true. If you substitute 3 to x here, 3 squared is equal to 9. Baligtarin natin siya. If x squared is equal to 9, then x is equal to 3. This is also true, but not in all cases. You can find a value that will contradict this statement. Ano yun? So, we know that the square root of 9 is not limited to 3. Meron din siyang negative 3. So, the first of this statement is true. Yung if x is equal to 3 is equal, then x squared is equal to 9 is true, but the converse is false. So, the biconditional statement is false. Okay? Now, let's go to example number 4, writing a biconditional statement. Each of the following statement is true. Write the converse of each statement, then decide whether the converse is true or false. If the converse is true, you can combine them with the original statement to form a true biconditional statement. If the converse is false, state a counterexample. Let's start with A. If 2 points lie in a plane, then the line containing them lies in the plane. Ano ang converse nito? Baligtarin natin yung hypothesis and conclusion. So, sabi sa hypothesis, 2 points lie in a plane. Conclusion, the line containing them lies in the plane. Gawin nating hypothesis C, the line containing them lies in the plane. So, if a line containing 2 points lies in a plane, ito yung bago nating hypothesis. Yung luma nating hypothesis, gagawin nating conclusion, then the points lie in the plane. Is this true or false? So, let's provide an illustration. Ito siya. So, the converse is true as shown in the diagram. So, it can be combined with the original statements to form the true biconditional statement. Ano yung biconditional statement natin? 2 points lie in a plane. Balik tayo dun sa una nating hypothesis. If and only if the line containing them lies in the plane. So, basta nakabuo kayo ng converse, pwede nyo na siyang isulat using our term if and only if, the biconditional keyword. Now, let's go to letter B. So, if a number ends in 0, then the number is divisible by 5. Anong converse nito? Baligtarin natin. Si conclusion, ilagay natin as hypothesis. The number is divisible by 5. Nakalagay, if a number is divisible by 5, then the number ends in 0, which is false because you can provide a lot of statements that will contradict this statement. Marami tayong pwedeng gamitin na counterexample. For example, 15. 15 is divisible by 5, but it doesn't end in 0. Another one, 25. 25 is divisible by 5, but it doesn't end in 0. So, the converse is false. Hindi natin siya pwedeng isulat as a biconditional. Hindi siya pwedeng gawin na a number ends in 0 if and only if it is divisible by 5. No. Mali yun. Hindi siya true na biconditional. Hindi siya pwedeng isulat as a biconditional. So, knowing how to use true biconditional statements is an important tool for reasoning in geometry. For instance, if you can write a true biconditional statement, then you can use the conditional statement or the converse to justify an argument. So, let's look at example number 5, writing a postulate as a biconditional. So, na-discuss natin before yung segment addition postulate. Ginamit natin siya na nagdi-discuss tayo ng distances. So, the second part of the segment addition postulate is the converse of the first part. Combine the statements to form a true biconditional statement. So, the first part of the segment addition postulate states that if B lies between A and C, then AB plus BC is equal to AC. Ano yung converse niya? Baliktarin natin, gawin nating hypothesis, si AB plus BC is equal to AC. If AB plus BC is equal to AC, then ilalagay natin sa conclusion ay si dating hypothesis, B lies between point and C. Then, B lies between A and C. Is this true? Yes. So, combining these statements produces the following true biconditional statement. Point B lies between points A and C if and only if A is equal to AC. Okay? Okay. So, yun lang yung discussion natin ng biconditional. Again, if you can, if you are presented with a biconditional statement, you can determine its truth value if you write the biconditional first as a conditional statement and the truth value is true. Tapos, sinulat mo si conditional statement as its converse at ang value pa rin niya ay true. Then, the whole biconditional is true. Okay? Pag may isang naging false dyan, hindi na valid yung biconditional statement natin. So, this is going to be the end of our discussion of biconditional statement and also the end of discussion for reasoning and proof because we are going to move forward with... Ay, meron pa pala. We are going to move forward with deductive reasoning. Hindi ko pala muna ikakat yung video. Kala ko chapter 3 na. So, deductive reasoning muna tayo. Very minimal lang yung magiging discussion ko dito kasi natapos na natin to sa logic. So, before, gumamit tayo ng mga notations for our hypothesis and conclusion. And we usually use the letters P and Q to represent our propositions. So, ang proposition natin for the hypothesis is the sun is out. It can be true or false, and then the weather is good. It can also be true or false. So we have here two propositions, P and Q. And if you write or combine these two propositions in the form, if P then Q, then you are going to come up with a conditional statement in the if-then form. Ito yung ginagamit natin. Recall lang natin siya. Ito yung ginagamit natin na symbol for the conditional statement. It is read as implies. Or kung hindi mo naman gagamitin sa imply, pwede mo rin siyang isulat in the if-then form. So, yung implication na form nito? Gamitin natin yung keyword na implies. So, the sun is out implies that the weather is good. Okay? So, the conditional statement can be written symbolically as P. Tapos, may arrow tayo going to the left. Q. Again, hindi natin binabaligtad yung direction ng arrow. Kung gusto nating baligtarin yung conclusion and hypothesis, para magkaroon tayo ng converse, isusulat mo lang siya na Q, then P. Q, tapos may arrow to the right, P. Okay? So, to form the converse of an if P then Q, of the statement, simply switch P and Q. Yan, kakadiscuss lang natin. If the weather is good, then the sun is out. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Huwag babaligtarin yung arrow. Ang i-interchange nyo ay yung mismong proposition. Now, for the biconditional statement, wala tayong problema kasi dalawang heads ang meron tayo dun. So, merong pointing to the left, tapos merong pointing to the right. So, hindi na ako magbibigay na maraming example, kasi lagi na natin itong ginagawa last sem. Okay? Yan, magta-transform lang kayo in symbol to words. Magko-combine lang naman kayo dyan. Nagawin lang siyang if-then. Kung ayaw nyo ng if-then, pwede rin naman yung word na implies. Okay lang yon. Okay. So, dito na tayo. Decide whether the biconditional statement P, biconditional Q is true. So, for P, then Q, is this true? Yes, this is true. The value of x is -5, then the absolute value of x is 5. So, no matter what value of x is, lagi ang magiging positive, wag lang 0. Kasi si 0, wala siyang, neutral siya, wala siyang sign. Hindi siya positive, hindi siya negative. Next, if the absolute value of x is 5, then the value of x is -5. This is false. Bakit? Kasi pwede rin naman na ang maging value niya ay 5 talaga. Kasi the absolute value of 5 is still 5. So the conditional statement in part A is true, but its converse in part B is false. So the biconditional statement, P biconditional Q, is false. So to write the inverse and contrapositive in symbolic notation, you need to be able to write the negation of the statement symbolically. So in this book, ang ginagamit natin na symbol for negation ay yung parang sa similarity. Ito. But before, ang ginagamit natin ay ito. No, nasa logic tayo. This is for the negation. Ngayon, ang gagamitin natin dito sa book para hindi tayo nalilito ay itong parang sa similar. So, negation pa rin siya. So, wag kayong masyadong malilito ha. Yung parang nakarotate na L, negation yon, as well as ito. On some book nga, may mahanap kayo na ganyan lang eh. So, parang negative sign lang siya. Negation din yun. So, pare-parehas lang itong tatlo. Next. Ayan. So, the measurement of angle, ano ba to? Angle 3 measures 90 degrees. In symbol, this is the proposition P. Ang negation niya, syempre, sasabihin natin na hindi siya 90. So, the angle 3 does not measure 90 degrees. And in symbol, this is the negation of P. Ganon din dito sa pangalawang example. Is not acute, edi Q siya, baligtarin lang natin, tanggalin natin si not. Kasi yung gagawin dito, angle 3 is not acute. Not, parang negative, magiging positive siya, tanggal na si negation sign. So, magiging is acute na lang siya. Okay? So, next, the inverse and ulit, not. So, negation, negative, magiging positive. So, tanggal na si not. The inverse of the contrapositive, P implies Q, are as follows. So, the inverse is, tinanong ko kayo kanina nung start natin ng biconditional, kung ano yung pinagpalit na conclusion and hypothesis. So, nasagot na natin siya ay converse. And then, ni-recap din natin kung ano ang inverse. Ininegate siya na hypothesis and conclusion. So, pag ninegate mo si hypothesis and si conclusion, magkakaroon ka ng inverse. Tapos, pinagsamang inverse at converse. So, babaligtarin mo muna yung hypothesis and conclusion. And then, inenegate mo sila, you will end up with the contrapositive. So, negated na si Q, then negated si P. Magkabaligtad na yung hypothesis mo and conclusion at na-negate mo na rin sila. So, lagyan natin dito, if angle 3 does not measure 90 degrees, then angle 3 is acute. This is not always true. Bakit? Kasi kung hindi siya nagme-measure ng 90 degrees, pwedeng over 90 degree. Kapag over 90 degree siya, meron kang obtuse angle. So, the inverse is not true. Contrapositive, if angle 3 is acute, then angle 3 does not measure 90 degrees. Okay, this is true. Kasi kapag ka-acute ka, any value between 0 and 90 but not equal to 0 and 90. Okay, so hindi siya magme-measure ng 90, acute siya. Example 2, i-ano na natin to ha, skip na natin to. Yan. Yan, skip na natin siya kasi alam niyo na naman siya before. So, dito tayo, using laws of logic. Deductive reasoning uses facts, definitions, and accepted properties in a logical order to write a logical argument. So, this differs from inductive reasoning, in which previous examples and patterns are used to form a conjecture. Example 3, using inductive and deductive reasoning. So, the following examples show how inductive and deductive reasoning differ. Dito sa una, Andrea knows that Robin is a sophomore and Todd is a junior.